Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast. For today, we're going over UFC 292, Sterling versus O'Malley. First things first, make sure you give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There is the Stats and Stacks podcast. I mean, I pride myself on being able to swallow my pride, and if I get something wrong, if I get screwed over, it is what it is. You take it on the chin and you just saddle up and you go off the next week. Well, we went the fuck off last week. We crushed it. Went a perfect 6 for 6 in regards to picks. So yeah, I can go ahead and take it on the chin, and I'm a good loser. I am a poor winner because I am on cloud nine. Your boy is wearing all his lucky shit. He's got the Bills caps on. Man, it was a great week, a great time to be alive. And honestly, we went 1 for 1 on locks the 2 previous weeks. And 3 weeks ago, I think that was the London card. It was 3 weeks ago. We had lost a lock and an underdog. And last week it was just the lock, and then the one that we just had hit everything. Honestly, throughout the entire last 3 events, I've gotten 3 picks wrong. It sucks that 3 of them were official bets, but at the end of the day, we are on a roll, betting a really high amount. We are unit on top of unit on top of unit, literally stacking them. It's a great time to be alive, and we're just looking to carry it over into this big pay-per-view. Listen, a lot of people like this pay-per-view a lot more than I do. It is what it is. I'm not a big fan of this, and I just need to reiterate, I will not choose a lock that's over minus 300. That's just kind of my own personal rule. I want to, cap the fights, go ahead and look at it, and kind of just dictate what's going to occur, predicate yourself on, just knowing MMA. So I just refuse. If they're a huge favorite, I just don't put them as locks because I mean anyone can just look at the line and bet that, and that is fucking difficult on this card. There's a lot of big favorites, and the ones that are not minus 300 are not minus 300 for a reason. So it is going to be an absolute just landmine. So it was really important to do a lot of fight tape and honestly just to carry some of that good luck over. So we're looking to do so here, and even the first fight of the night can get a little greasy, but I think we're gonna be okay here because we're on the opposite. We're not on the favorite. Sorry, there's some computer issues going on. We're not on the favorite. We're actually on the dog here, and it's one I like quite a bit, to be honest with you. With this very first fight of the night, we have Marina Moroz at plus 125 going up against Karina Silva at minus 150. Over under sitting at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 130, under 2.5 at plus 100. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but got it all together and all pulled up now. Let's start with the dog and Marina Moreau. You know what? No, let's start with the favorite. Forget it. Let's just go ahead and start with Karine Silva, someone that I'm not the biggest fan of. I think she's limited, man. I think she has okay striking. She's got wild hair. I'll give her that. Her jiu-jitsu is top notch. Her jiu-jitsu is very good. I will give her that. It's just when she's on the feet, although she's pretty explosive and it looks okay, she doesn't have that much power and she's very low volume. The other thing I saw is that she has a tendency to slow down in her fights, and for someone that is so good on the ground, doesn't have that good of wrestling. In the Mara Buenotella fight, she got her down to the ground off of an overhand right. It wasn't an actual takedown, but they credit it as a takedown. Otherwise, she's not really taking a lot of people down. She had the win via knee bar. Last time out, that was pretty nasty. I'll give her that. But honestly, it's just not she's not really anything to write home about. She's not that good of a wrestler. She's not that good of a striker. Doesn't have that good of cardio, but her jiu-jitsu is top notch. Like it's very good on the ground. But as long as you can stay safe, you're perfectly fine down there with her. And she herself, she gasses out, and you can catch her with stuff sometimes. And she's been tapped out before. She's actually been tapped out 2 of her 4 losses. And one of the people that did submit her is her opponent this weekend in Maria Moroz, and she is the underdog, even though she holds a win over Karina Silva. Moroz, okay. She is at a good camp with American Top Team. She's a pretty decently good boxer, to be honest with you. That's it. She's not really that good of a wrestler. It's okay. It's underrated. She can wrestle. We saw it a lot in the Maria Agapova fight, but that's more of just if you fight Maria Agapova, you take her down. It's not that hard. But at the end of the day, her wrestling, she will mix it in, and it's not terrible. Her striking's pretty good. She's pretty competitive with Jennifer Maia, who's a top 5 girl. And her jiu-jitsu's not bad. She's tapped out the likes of the aforementioned Karine Silva. She's tapped out let's see here. Maria Agapova, that's not so hard. She tapped out what's her name? Wood. Joanne Wood. Like that's a pretty good win there. Like she's beat some top contenders. And I mean, yeah, she has some losses. She has 4 losses, but her losses in the UFC. I mean, I have no idea who Valerie is, to be honest with you. I wasn't really paying that much. I was in college. I wasn't paying as much attention if I should have been. But Carla Esparza is a former champ. Angela Hill's an absolute tank. And Jennifer Maia is a former title challenger. So not terrible losses to have on your resume. But again, the biggest thing here is that when it comes to wrestling, Maria's going to have the wrestling advantage, so she should dictate where this fight is. If it's on the feet, she's actually the better striker. If it's on the ground, Karine is the better submission artist. But Marina at least knows what's going on down there, and has submitted her before. And not only has she submitted her before, again, when you talk about Karina Silva, you say that she's really good at jiu-jitsu, she's okay on the feet, but she can't wrestle to save her life. You know who else that describes to an absolute T? Myra Bueno Silva. You know who has a win over Myra Bueno Silva? Marina Moroz. So not only has she beat someone that fights exactly like Karina Silva, she's beaten Karina Silva. She's only gotten better, and she's the underdog. It makes no sense. So the pick is going to be Moreau. The bet is going to be Moreau. Fade the hype. Take the smart play. All right, next fight of the night. We are looking at the the second women's MMA fight on the card. They're getting 2 of them out of the way early. We have Andrea Lee at plus 280 going up against Natalia Silva, my girl, at minus 355. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 at minus 200. Under 2.5 at plus 155. We can start with KGB Lee. If she's still dating Tony Kelly, I can't bet her. She does not have a good track record with the guys she chooses to date, but it is what it is. On a actual MMA level, her striking's not bad. Her striking's pretty good. Her jiu-jitsu's coming around. It's not terrible. Her wrestling is usually her weakness, but we saw her improve. We saw her use it against Macy Barber in her last fight. We saw it improve a little bit against Viviana Araujo. We saw it against let's see here, Antonina Shevchenko. She used her ground game in her wrestling. So although people used to just take her down and ground her, Lauren Murphy won the fight because she took her down. Joanne Wood, it was a split decision. It was close. Roxanne Modafari, not the greatest fighter in the world, took her down. Like that's how you go out and you beat her. So she worked on it and she's gotten a lot better at it. I will give her credit. She's gonna have a 4.5 ounce reach advantage here, which is super nice. She has really high volume. The problem with her is that in her last few fights, she has slowed down a little bit. Again, the Macy Barber fight, she slowed down a little bit. Viviana Araujo, she put it on Vivi in round 1, and then she slowed down a little bit. It is what it is. And she's just kind of slow in general. I like her striking. I think she's very good on the feet. It's just you kind of see it coming a mile away with some of the stuff. Like she has a nice head kick on her. It's just slow. And I don't know if she's actually physically slow or if she just after watching fight tape of Natalia Silva, she just seems slow because Silva's the fastest striker I've ever seen in women's MMA. And Lee has a tendency to stop moving her head after round 1. I noticed that. I watched like 5 or 6 Andrea Lee fights the other day, and literally she looks great round 1, and then she just keeps her head straight down the center in rounds 2 and 3. She refuses to use head movement after round 1. I don't understand what happens. I don't know if that's part of her tiring. I don't know what it is. Don't get me wrong, she's not gassing out by any means. But she does get a little sloppy as the fight continues to go on. Natalia Silva, not so much. This girl's an absolute killer. Again, I have a tendency to just ride with people if it was a really good bet that no one was aware of and then they come through for me, I ride with them forever. And that's kind of how it is with Natalia Silva. How she was a plus 200 dog to Jasmine Jasdavicius, I will never know. I bet her, I took a shot on her, and she absolutely crushed, and she's been crushing ever since. We have Isaac Dolgarian, who's going to end up being that guy for me, but now people are hip to it. But I'm gonna ride that guy, man. This is it. Some guys come through for you, and you just appreciate it. But yeah, Silva, really, really, really fast hands. Like literally the fastest hands I've ever seen in women's MMA, and it's predominantly coming off counter strikes. Like you will throw one punch, and she throws three more back at you before you can even start the second punch in your combination. She is fast. Her jiu-jitsu, very good. Very, very good. I'm pretty sure she's a just Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. Um, in regards to her age, she's only 26, so she's just entering her prime, which is a scary thing to say. Her wrestling's good. I've seen her use it offensively on the regional scene. On the UFC scene, it's predominantly been defensively. But she's very, very hard to take down, and I have seen her use takedowns, so she can wrestle if she wants to. But Andrea Lee has been wrestling as of late, and I think that's part of the reason she's slowing down. I think that gasses her out when she wrestles. She should not wrestle in this matchup because she's not taking down Silva. So, so Silva's takedown defense is impeccable. Just like Lee, she throws a ton of volume. She needs to work on her clinch game. She's not the greatest in the clinch, but honestly, neither is Andrea Lee. She prefers to work. She prefers to work on the outside as well. So they kind of mirror each other there. Unlike Lee, she has good cardio. She'll go a hard 15. Like, there's not really any negatives to Silva's game outside of the fact that she trains with Barachinha. Like, I don't like the fact that she's training with Costa. That's about it. That's literally the negative I have on her. Otherwise, she's the girl. Like, she's cool. She keeps winning me money. I appreciate everything this girl is doing for me, and I'm gonna back her again. I don't like women's MMA being minus 355. I don't think this line is accurate. But I can't even take a shot on the dog here because Natalia Silva is going to continue to crush. She's my girl, and she's never let me down before. I don't want her to start now. So the pick is going to be Natalia Silva. The bet's going to be Silva, and although she gets a ton of finishes, it probably will hit that over. Yeah, minus 200 for the over. It's kind of juiced, so I might as well just take Silva straight up in some parlays. Silva's a girl. Silva's a girl. All right, next fight of the night is one I've been going back and forth. I've been going back and forth all week. I have no idea what to do with this fight. We have Gerald Mearshart plus 200 going up against Andre Petrowski at minus 245. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 140. Under 1.5 is plus 110. Let's start with Petrowski because I don't think he's that good. His jujitsu is that good. He's a very, very good jujitsu practitioner. He's one of these Philly Gracie guys, like the Jeremiah Wells, the Sean Brady's of the world. Like he's very, very good on the ground and is very, very good wrestling like them. Like he is good wrestling, good jujitsu. That's a great combination to have. The problem is his striking's pretty rudimentary. It's pretty basic. It's nothing to write home about. He's jacked, so he hits decently hard, but the problem is he gasses out like crazy. He does not have good cardio. That is the biggest part of his game. And the crazy thing is he looks like he's gassed after round one. He'll fight for you. Don't get me wrong. He has a ton of heart, and he'll keep fighting even though his body is telling him to stop. And he's made it to multiple round threes. Like he's been even gotten a few finishes in round three as of late. Um, but preferably you want this guy to finish early. And with him being the favorite, that's why you see the over 1.5, and that's why it's lined at 1.5. It's because of Andre Petrowski. He goes out there and he tries to kill you in round one because he doesn't have a ton of cardio. The other thing that concerns me about Andre outside of his cardio, it's not that he's chinny when he's tired, but that he shoots predominantly doubles. Like, I think I've only seen him shoot doubles for his takedowns, and when he does, he has a propensity to leave his head out there. And if you're a good jiu-jitsu practitioner, You can guillotine him. Wellington Turman tried to guillotine him multiple times and almost had it a few times. If you're a little better than Wellington Turman, you might catch this guy when he's shooting a double. Gerald Mearshart might be better than Wellington Turman. Well, if Andre Petrowski is good at jiu-jitsu, so is Gerald Mearshart. GM3 is that's his bread and butter. He has okay cardio. He slows down in his fights. He gets round 3 win after round 3 win after round 3 win. You beat his ass. And then he comes back and he wins in the 3rd round. That's what he does. He did it. Let's see here. He did it to Bruno Silva, he was actually kind of winning that fight, but he still won in round 3. Dustin Stolfus was beating his ass. He won in round 3. Makhmed Meredov was beating his ass. Then he won in round 2. Bart just shot his head right into a takedown. Duran Wynn was beating his ass, and then he subbed him in round 3. Trevin Giles was beating his ass, and then he subbed him in round 3. Like, we've seen this over and over and over. You beat the absolute tar off Gerald Mearshart, and then he subs you in round 3. Or you just put him out right away. Joe Pfeiffer knocked him out in 3 minutes. Krzysztof Jotko did grind him out. Hamzat Chimaev knocked him out in 17 seconds. Ian Heinisch knocked him out in 1 minute. Like, you see it over and over again here as well. So he either goes right out or he subs you in round 3. That's usually what happens. But if you're really, really good and really, really safe on the ground, you can grind him out. And that's what Andre's probably going to have to do. And Gerald, his offensive wrestling is getting better. It sounds weird at 35 that it's getting better, but it is. Defensive wrestling, not so much. 29% takedown defense. So if Andre wants him down, Andre will get him down. I just pray Andre does not leave his head dangling there because Gerald will take his neck home. Gerald, although he's not a very good striker, it's serviceable, and he'll have a 4.5-inch reach advantage here. It's pretty much a wash on the feet, but Gerald will have a reach advantage. But Gerald's a lot more hittable than Andre is. And if you take Gerald down, he does grow complacent and he does just play jujitsu. He'll lay there and he'll just lull you to sleep, and then he'll throw up a really fast triangle or a really fast Kimura to try to catch you off guard and finish you. That's what he does. But time clicks off the clock as he's doing so. And if you're very, very good on the ground, you're not going to get caught with it. That's why Jocko was able to survive. That's why let's see who else decided him. Eric Anders. Kevin Holland is very good on the ground. That's why he was able to survive. Thiago Santos is a black belt. He was fine and then knocked him out. Like, you can play with him on the ground. You just have to mind your P's and Q's. Andre should be able to do that. Andre's going to be the pick. But he leaves his fucking head out there, and I just can't trust that at minus 245. So I'm going to kind of hedge a little bit, and I'll say tired Andre might get guillotined, but I'm praying that it happens later on in the fight. So I'll take the over 1.5. I'll take advantage of this being at 1.5 minus 140. That's the way I'm going to bet it. So the pick is going to be Andre, but the bet's going to be the over 1.5, just in case Gerald hits another one of these round 3 Hail Marys. Next fight of the night doesn't feel great to talk about. We have Brad Superman Katona at minus 175 going up against Cody Gibson at plus 145. I don't have an over-under as this fight was just announced, considering the Ultimate Fighter just happened. Let's start with Brad. Brad's good. Brad only has 2 losses in his career, and they're to pretty good people. He lost to Merab Dvalishvili. There's absolutely no shame there. And he lost to Hunter Azure, who was also on the show. He was actually pretty good. He just got caught on the show, so no shame losing to Hunter. Those are 2 good guys. Brad's just a generalist, man. He's good on the feet. He's good. He's pretty decent on the ground. And he has pretty decent wrestling. Like, he's just good everywhere. He doesn't carry a ton of power. He just kind of just picks and paws at you and tries to find a way to get the decision win. On the I honestly don't think he won, though. I don't think he should be here. I think it should be Timur Valiev. I think he got screwed over. I think he is here because he's partners with Connor, to be honest with you. And in regards to his wrestling, he does have good wrestling, but his takedown defense is a staggering 47%. Part of that is because he fought Merab, and Merab's going to ruin everyone's takedown defense numbers. But even just in his most recent fight against Timur, he got taken down. So they're not exactly known for wrestling in Ireland. So it might be a little sketchy there. So just keep an eye on that. But overall, I think he is the better fighter here over Cody Gibson. Cody's all right. I have no problem with Cody. He's kind of a generalist himself. I would say he's a little better on the ground than Brad is. On the feet, I'd probably give Brad the advantage. And when it comes to wrestling, Cody can wrestle a little. It's nothing crazy. He can wrestle a little bit. Losing to Ray Borg in the UFC in his initial run, he lost to wrestlers. He lost to Douglas De Silva Andrade. He lost to Manny Gambarian. He lost to Aljamain Sterling, the champ. So I mean, those are all good fighters. It's just I don't know, man. He lost because he got out grappled, and I feel like that's what Brad is going to try to do here. Um, he will have a reach advantage, which is nice, even though Brad's the better striker. I think Cody can hold his own there, and I don't know. I think Brad should win this fight. I think this fight is lined appropriately, and that's why I don't like this. Minus 175 Brad is about right. Will I probably end up taking a shot on Cody just because I'm not the biggest Brad fan? Probably. We have a little extra cash to throw on Cody just because of how crazy last week was. Is it the smart thing to do? No. Am I gonna do it? Probably. Should you do it? No, probably not. The pick is Brad. You should probably bet Brad, but at least try to get some sort of better money on it. And I'll go Brad by decision. I don't really see Brad finishing Cody. Brad doesn't have a lot of stopping power. So, depending on what these over under numbers are, too, you could also try to go that route and just take the over. Or you can just take Brad by decision if you really want to be honest. Take the over. It's not too crazy. Next fight's another kind of boring one here. It's the other finale for the Ultimate Fighter. We have Austin Hubbard at minus 175. Going up against Kurt Hollabaugh at plus 145. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 150. Under 2.5 at plus 120. Let's start with Kurt. He's not really anything to write home about either. He's old. He's 36 years old. Doesn't have a 2-inch reach advantage, which is nice. And his losses, I mean, they're credible losses. He lost to Thiago Moises, that's fine. Shane Burgos, that's fine. Hani Barcelos, that's fine. Like, these are good fighters that he lost to in the UFC. My problem is a lot of his fights were at 145. Burgos, 45. Hani was 45 and usually fights at 135. Lost to a smaller guy there. Thiago Moises, he is generally a 155 pounder, so I'll give him that one, but yeah, he fought 45 for most of his career, and this is up at 55. He's also a little bit of a generalist. He's okay on the ground, but he will play jujitsu. The striking is not good, but he's scrappy. That's probably the best word to describe him. He doesn't quit on himself. He continues to go forward. And his wrestling, it's not the greatest. It's a 45% takedown defense as well, so that's a little concerning. He throws decent volume when he's on the feet. He's there to fight. He's here to bring the fight. I shouldn't say boring. He's an okay fighter to watch. I just don't really see him. He doesn't have the wrestling to take Austin down. And that's concerning because I think Austin's the better striker. I think Kurt might be better on the ground, but I think Austin can stay safe enough. Austin, good cardio, trains in elevation, an elevation fight team. That's really, really good. One of the good places to be. He's a generalist himself, but he also has little power. He does not hit hard whatsoever. Most of his wins, decision. We don't talk about the Max fight. Fuck that. Max for life. Decision. That he has a knockout here in round 5, so he just wore on him. Decision. Rear naked choke. Cameron Van Camp was in the UFC for a little. That's fine, but that was in round 3. War on him, and Cameron has no gas tank. Decision. Like the dude does not hit hard at all, and he doesn't try to put you away. He just tries to fight you. So at the end of the day, you're probably just going to take the over here. Over 2.5 at minus 150 is a pretty decent look, to be honest with you. That's a pretty good number. I like that a lot, actually, now that I'm looking at it. So the pick is going to be Austin. The bet is going to end up being the over 2.5. That's the best way to play it. But playing Austin straight up is not that bad either. All right, next fight of the night. We have RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez at minus 355 going up against Dennis Talulian at plus 280. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is plus 150. Under 1.5 at minus 195. God, RoboCop. What to do with RoboCop? Let's start with Dennis because Dennis is ass. Dennis has okay striking. I saw Dennis fight live against whenever he's going to come back. Ali Iskov, what's his name? Okay, Ali Shakab Kriziev. That guy is an absolute animal. He's a unit, and he needs to come back soon. Otherwise, Dennis is going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, which is nice here. He throws pretty decent volume. It's pretty high volume. He reads as a 70% takedown defense, but it has an asterisk next to it. He stuffed a few against Kurisev, which is nice. It does look good, but Kurisev is a welterweight, so he is fighting up like 2 weight classes. It was a little ridiculous. Dennis has zero cardio. Dennis is actually hittable on the feet, even though he's a decent striker. And Dennis's ground game, oh my god, it might be the worst ground game I've seen in MMA. Like, not outside of some of these heavyweights, uh, definitely at 185, it might be the worst ground game I've ever seen. Like, if him and Alex Pereira rolled, I think Alex Pereira subs him 10 times out of 10. Like, that's how bad this is. Izzy would make him look like an absolute fool on the ground. Like, it's scary how bad his ground game is. He just looks like he doesn't know what's happening. I don't know how he's Russian and isn't used to not that good of a wrestler and not used to the ground game. I don't know what's happening there. He's not a good Russian. But Jesus, it's a really, really, really bad ground game. Here's the concerning part. He's fighting RoboCop. He's fighting RoboCop, who is world class on the ground. Literal jujitsu champion. Like, he is great on the ground. He might be like top 3 jujitsu practitioners in this weight class. His striking though, good. Very good striker. Ton of power, ton of volume. Here's the problem with RoboCop. The dude gasses, and the dude has a shaky chin. Yeah, he is built like an absolute unit. I have no idea how he makes 185. He is a massive, massive, very, very strong human being. But for the love of God, I think he needs to go up to 205. I think that would service him better because at 185, it has to be the weight cut that's causing his chin to be one of the worst I've ever seen. Like, he's 13-5. Let's take a look at how many knockouts there are. 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of his 5 losses are by knockout. Here's the crazy thing. Some of these wins he has, he's been rocked in. He got rocked against Jung Young Park bad. He was out on his feet. He got rocked against Armin, even though he still lost a split. He was out on his feet. Junior Marquez, he didn't really catch him with anything. Chidi had him hurt, like his head was split open. Like, it was very, very bad. And then Bruno Ferreira in his last fight knocked him out easily with a jab. So very, very concerning here. Bruno's and here's the other thing. Bruno Ferreira, not a real 185er. He should probably fight at welterweight. Jordan Williams is a diabetic welterweight. Came into the contender series and knocked him out. That's concerning. Like, this guy is a welterweight. Probably could make lightweight if he wasn't a diabetic. Fought up just to get on contender series and knocked him out in round 1. That is bad. The dude has zero chin, but wants to go out there and strike. Don't get me wrong, he is a good striker. I think part of it is his cardio. His cardio, with all this muscle mass he has, he does have a tendency to slow down. So I think he fell in love with striking. It doesn't make him as tired, and he just goes for it. He can make money. He keeps getting these 50,000 fight of the night checks, and he's just kind of adapted to, I'm a striker now. But for the love of God, Gregory, Dennis doesn't know what a rear naked choke is. Like, if this man took him down and got him to the ground, it could take him a mere. I legitimately think he could tap him out faster than I could go grab a beer and come back. Like, this dude, it's going to take milliseconds for him to get a submission. So if you want to bet RoboCop, you can. But his chin is shaky. And Dennis is not exactly a one-hitter quitter type of guy. But I don't think you have to be to knock out RoboCop since he's getting knocked out by diabetic welterweights. So I don't know, man. His last two losses are knockouts by welterweights. Ugh. I don't know. The pick is going to be RoboCop. The bet's going to be RoboCop because he can win on the feet. He can definitely win on the ground. He can win by decision. He can win any way he chooses. I just need him to choose to do the right thing. For the love of God, RoboCop, just submit him. Pick RoboCop, bet RoboCop. Then it gets even greasier. We have 58-year-old Chris Weidman at plus 220 going up against Brad Tavares at minus 270. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 110. Under 2.5 at minus 120. Let's start with Weidman making his return. I'm only being a little bit sarcastic when I say 58. He's 39 years old. The man is turning 40 very soon here. He's gonna have a 4-inch reach advantage, which is nice. Definitely a wrestling advantage. The dude's a very, very, very good wrestler. His level of competition, very, very good. He's a former champ, for Christ's sake. Like he's very, very good. He's a great fighter. His jiu-jitsu sound. He's a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. His camp, Sarah Longo. So he's sitting here training with Aljo, who's getting ready for a title fight. They're in the same room every day, working hard. Brother-in-law Stephen Thompson helping him with his striking. Like everything about Chris Weidman is a good thing to see. His cardio, good, checks out. He can go a hard 15. He has no problem. He's gone 25 before. He has no problem going 15. Here's the problem with Chris Weidman. And what everyone's going to talk about is his age and his leg. The dude's 39 years old because at age 37, his bones gave out on him. Uriah Hall literally checked the kick and his leg snapped Anderson Silva style. Like it was gross. It was disgusting. It bent the whole wrong way. The fact that he's even fighting right now is an absolute miracle. They were talking about him not being able to walk anymore. But now here he is about to step back into the octagon. Part of that is his stubbornness. He wants to show that he can do it. I think he can, which is nice. But do you really want to bet a 39-year-old coming off of a leg injury that we haven't seen in 2 years? Probably not. And if you even want to take that out of the way, we just talked about RoboCop. You know who else is secretly Ginny? Chris Weidman. He has 6 career losses. Now I'm not going to count the Uriah Hall knockout. I will not count that because I was just a broken leg. Dominic Reyes knocked him out. Souza knocked him out. Musasi knocked him out. Yoel Romero knocked him out. Luke Rockhold knocked him out. Like, all of these guys are very, very good fighters, but there's a common denominator here. Knockout, 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 knockout. Every single one of his 6 losses are by knockout in all variations. Broken bones, his bone given out on him. Ground and pound finish. Knocked out with a flying knee. Knocked out with Dominic Reyes clipped him and then just hit him with some hammer fist. Souza knocked him out. Musasi threw some knees. He's been knocked out a litany of ways, but the common theme is if you touch that chin, he can go out. So not something I'm looking forward to. Good news is the UFC is fully cognizant of that and gave him the most pillow-fisted middleweight they could find on the roster in Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares has like 10 wins in the UFC and they're all by decision, literally. Like you look at his wins, he's at Extreme Couture, which is a nice camp training over with Strickland and Curtis. But honestly, look at his last win, decision, knockout of Christo Jaka. That's bad. Ladies decision, split decision, decision. Punches Phil Baroni back in 2011. So he's had literally one knockout since 2011. He's had like 10 wins, one knockout since 2011. Like he's not going to finish anyone. This is not his MO. His cardio, it used to be good, but it's slowing down because Weidman's 39, Brad's 35, and he's been fighting in the UFC since he's 20 or something like that. He was 21 when he got into the UFC. So it's been 14 years. So in fight years, the dude's not 35. In fight years, the dude's 40. So we have a 40-year-old going against a 40-year-old. Tavares, great level of competition. He's not a champ, but great level of competition. He's getting a little chinny himself. He was known for having that Hawaiian durability, but we saw Driscus rock him badly. We saw Bruno Silva put him out. We saw Edmund Shabazian put him out. We saw Robert Whitaker put him out. Tim Bosch put him out. And all these other guys. Yoel Romero hits like a truck, but he went to decision there. We had Israel Adesanya, the champ, went to decision. Like, it's weird. I don't know what's going on. You just see it deteriorating as we go. But that's the thing. Look at his losses, and that's how you know who's going to be, oh God, at least fight for a title soon. Bruno Silva, not so much. Driscus Duplessis, beat him, about to fight for a title. Edmund Chapazia, not so much. Israel Adesanya, current champion. Robert Whitaker, former champion. Tim Bosch, not so much. Yoel Romero fought for a title 3 times. Uh, Aaron Simpson, no. It's just like, in order to fight for the title, you have to fight Brad Tavares. Like, that's how it works. Kind of how it is in welterweight with Neil Magny, who we'll talk about later on. In order to fight for a title, you have to fight Neil Magny first. Like, you have to prove your UFC level, and they throw you to Brad. Now, in this instance, they just want to protect Weidman. They don't want him getting hurt. Who may not kill a man in the octagon? Brad ain't hurting anybody. So the fact that the over 2.5 is -120 is really them saying Weidman is chinny and done and 40 years old. Is he that bad that Brad can't knock him out? I don't know. Can Weidman literally take him down and just hold him down? That could be that could be a thing too. So honestly, here's the crazy thing. What I personally am going to do is tease this to 1.5. Let's not play that 2.5 game at -120. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tease it to 1.5, eat a little bit of juice, and throw it in some parlays. I don't see this thing. Honestly, I don't see this thing finishing within the first 2 rounds. I really don't. So I don't want to play with that last 2 minutes and 30 seconds there. I'm just going to take the 1.5. But as of right now, it's a sheer dogger pass. I'm going to take Chris, and I'm going to bet Chris if I'm not teasing anything. I'm going to pick and bet Old Man Weidman and just I'll be at a wedding this weekend. Good news is I don't have to see it. I'll just go ahead and check my phone, see Chris Weidman got me Monday. I don't have to worry about how. I don't have to worry about if the judges screwed Brad. I don't have to worry about how many times he got dropped trying to shoot a single leg. I don't care. Just put money in my bank account, Weidman. So I guess I'll have to take a shot on Weidman. Why not? Pick Weidman, bet Weidman, but I like that over 1.5. Next fight of the night is another one I like a lot. It's a great last minute replacement. It's honestly one of my favorite fights on the card, and it just came into fruition like a few days ago. We have Damon Blackshear at +180 going up against Mario Batista at -220. Over under not there yet because again, this fight just got agreed to on like Tuesday. Damon Blackshear's the man. I love Damon Blackshear. Just won me a ton of money like 5 days ago, and here he is back again. And when these guys take these 1 week ordeals, when they take a fight 1 week after just fighting, think about it. Khamzat did that. Everyone jumped on Khamzat's dick. Lupe Godinez did that. Everyone thinks she's an absolute killer. Damon Blackshear is next in line, baby. Sign him up. This guy's the man. He's 29 years old. He's in his prime. We had a breakdown for him literally a few days ago. So or 1 week ago, directly to this day and this time. So I'll just go ahead and run through it real fast as we just did this. He's okay striking, very explosive, good wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. We saw it on display with a twister, only the third person to ever get a twister finish in the UFC. Zombie and Bryce Mitchell, not bad company. Again, taking this fight on 4 days notice, but he will have a 3.5-inch reach advantage here. Mario Batista's tall, but he's got little T-Rex arms. I was not aware of that. So I like that Damon's probably going to be at a striking disadvantage, but Damon's the faster guy. He actually kind of might hit harder. So he's faster, he hits harder, and I have a reach advantage. Technically, just on a technical standpoint, he will be at a disadvantage on the feet. But he has all the athleticism. I always call this guy Bantamweight Jeremiah Wells. He fights just like him, has the same qualities. On the ground, he's the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. In regards to wrestling, he's the better wrestler. Like, I like Damon Blackshear quite a bit here. On the other side, Mario Batista is someone I backed a ton. I think Batista's a very, very good fighter. He trains at MMA Lab over with the main event Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley. He's really good striking. He has good jiu-jitsu. I mean, he finished his last 3 fights by jiu-jitsu, tapping out Guido. Who else did he tap out? Benito and Brian Kelleher. So he 3-3. And the Kelleher one was really cool. It kind of looked like he went to go throw a punch and then just snuck his arm under the chin and choked him out. It was pretty slick. Yeah, bantamweight at MMA Lab is insane. We saw We have Sugar Show, we have Kyler Phillips, we saw Marcus McGee last week, and Mario Batista. Like all these guys, iron sharpens iron. We even have people that we don't talk about, like Casey Kenny is an absolute killer. You have a lot of great fighters over at the MMA lab. You know what they don't have? Wrestling. Jared Cannonier, great get up game. Terrible takedown defense. Sugar Sean, we've only seen him go against one person that tried to wrestle, and that's Peter Yan. Peter Yan is not a wrestler. He is a striker. Took him down 6 times. Not good takedown defense. Kyler Phillips, it's, it's not that you can't take him down. He's very, very, very good on the ground. So once you take him down, he'll threaten you with something and get right back up, which is nice, but not hard to get down to the ground. MMA Lab is not known for their takedown defense. So although he's training with great guys, Marcus McGee got taken down by Journey Newsom. Like, not that good at taking on. They are not known for their takedown defense. They're known for getting up real well. But I don't think you're getting up from Blackshear. He's slapping on that body triangle and you're going nowhere. He smothers you on the ground. You would think he trains with Aljo because he fights just like him. He fights just like Aljo and he fights just like Jeremiah Wells. It's a prototype and they go out there and they do the damn thing and you have plus 180 here. I like Mario Batista, but I think stylistically, MMA Lab ain't known for their wrestling, so I know they're going to have to wrestle now, fighting Aljo and Damon Blackshear. But he was training for Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt can wrestle a little bit, and he will try to do it, but he gasses himself out. He prefers to strike. He only wrestles when he needs to. I don't know. They were really training for a striker. Now they got someone that's just as fast and can wrestle his ass off and is 10 times better on the ground. So the pick is gonna be Blackshear on a week's notice, and the bet's gonna be Blackshear at plus 180. Let's get it. Next fight of the night. We're just towards the end of the night, we're just going dog hunting, baby. We got Pedro Munoz at plus 160 going up against Marlon Vera at minus 190. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 360. Jesus. Under 2.5 at plus 260. That's because neither one of these guys, they might be incapable of being knocked out. Let's start with Marlon Vera. Durable as all hell. I know that because he's pretty hittable on the feet, to be honest with you. They'll have a 5.5-inch reach advantage here, which is nice, but everyone has a reach advantage with Pedro Munoz, so he's kind of used to it. Marlon is very, very good jiu-jitsu. He has what feels like infinite cardio. Like, I would love to see Marab and Cheeto go at it because neither one ever get tired. Again, his jiu-jitsu is good. His striking's pretty good. People think he's a power puncher. He's not. He's a power kicker. His knockouts in the UFC, he knocked out Dominic Cruz with a head kick. He knocked out Frankie Yeager with a front kick. Like, he doesn't hit hard. He kicks hard. There's a difference. And I don't know if he's just going to kick out. I don't know if he's going to do that to Munoz. Here's the problem. Slowest starter I've ever seen in my life. The man has been in the UFC since 2014. 2014 has never won a first round. I mean, okay. Let me get this. Let me change this. He has gotten a finish in the first round, but outside of like quick first round finishes, anything that's gone past the first round, he never won round one. I mean, and he's not fighting killers. He's losing first rounds to Guido Canetti. Like, I watched that fight. He lost round one to Guido Canetti. He's losing first rounds to Andre Ewell. Like, these guys are not good. Davy Grant's okay. Lost the first round to Davy Grant. It was a pretty competitive fight. Dominic Cruz is like 40. He's literally 40 years old. Lost the first 2.5 rounds to him. Rob Font beat his ass every single round, all 5 rounds. But Rob Font is older. He's 36. And he has a chin issue right now. So what happened was Rob Font beat the absolute crap out of Cheeto. Cheeto would drop him and win the round. Every round. He had 4 knockdowns. And every round he just stole because he rocked him during the course of the round. Davy Grant's not bad, but at the end of the day, he's not a top challenger here. And he's also like 37. So I don't know what's going on with this old man tour, but Dominic Cruz, 40, Rob Font, 36, Frankie Yeager, 41, Davy Grant, 37, Jose Aldo. I know it shows he was like 34 24 or something, but in fight years, we all know that dude was fighting since he was like 16. So in fight years, he was a lot older. Yeah, he was on an old man tour there for a little bit. I don't know what was happening there. Then they gave him someone that was not in his 40s, and Corey went out there and killed him. I know it says split decision. It was not. Corey dominated. And Corey dominated by wrestling. Vera has a terrible, terrible takedown defense. It's awful. It's not really going to matter here because Munoz effectively has shot like 3 takedowns since he's been in the UFC, which is weird because he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's just like RoboCop. He's very, very, very good on the ground, but prefers to strike. I don't understand what's happening. Lucky for Vera, Pedro Munoz, 36. So his old man door is back. He lost to someone that was in his 20s. He said, fuck that. I'm going right back to it. Give me Munoz at 36. Munoz, good striker. He's pretty fast. Again, world-class jiu-jitsu, even though you'll never see it. He's fought good people himself. He's fought the champ Aljamain Sterling. He fought Jose Aldo, Dominic Cruz. He's fought all the same guys. Frankie Edgar, Chris Gutierrez, whatever. He fought John Dodson, Brett Johns. That's a great win. That aged well. Cody Garbrandt, former champ, knocked him out. Like a lot of good stuff there. Munoz himself has really good cardio. He'll go 15 all day. Really high volume, and he's durable as hell. He kind of likes to go forward. So he's definitely going to win round 1. But then round 2 is going to be up in the air, and Vera always wins round 3. So it really comes down to round 2. Who's going to win round 2? I don't know. It's just such a 50-50 fight on the feet. Both these guys are best on the ground, but they like to strike. So you have two jiu-jitsu guys striking, and they both are very good at striking. So it's going to be interesting to see who's better. I don't know. This has split decision written all over it, and that's the way I'm probably going to take it. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Munoz. And I'm going to end up betting Munoz, and I'm also going to have a little sprinkle on the split. I think he can get it done via split decision. Crowd's going to be involved, and Munoz has no problem making something boring. Crowd's going to like Vera, but yeah, I got to go Munoz. The pick is going to be Munoz. The bet's going to be Munoz. So we're going to sprinkle that split in there. Plus 900. All right, then that takes us to another short notice replacement fight. We got Neil Magny stepping in on 10 days notice at plus 350, going up against Ian Machado Gary at minus 455. Over under set at 2.5, over 2.5 at minus 105, under 2.5 at minus 125. That's interesting. Mainly because of Neil Magny. He's not someone that generally gets finished, but you can put him out. Santiago Ponzinibbio put him out, but he put him out in the 5th round. Shavkat did put him out, but it was very, very competitive, and he took him out with just 2 seconds left in the 2nd round. And Gilbert Burns went down and submitted him right away. So yeah, you usually submit him. You don't usually knock Neil Magny out. Sorry, the 4th round. RDA was able to finish Neil, but again, by submission. Lorenz Larkin hits like an absolute truck, and he knocked him out. That's it. He's been knocked out twice in his entire career, and the man fights a lot. I mean, the guy has literally 38 professional fights. Like, the guy fights a ton. And just as I had aforementioned with Brad Tavares, if you're going to be champ, you got to beat Neil Magny. Gilbert Burns, title challenger. Shavkat, we all know about. We have Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal was so close to fighting for a title. Michael Chiesa's in the top 5. Robbie Lawler, former champ. Leach is in the top 10. Santiago in the top 10. RDA, former champ. Carlos Condit, former interim champ. Like, all these guys, if you're going to fight for a title, you have to fight Neil Magny. That's just the way it is. Neil's the definition of he's the generalist of all generalists. He's okay everywhere, not proficient anywhere, and he's durable. That's everything you need to know about Neil. Outside of one thing, I just said he had 38 pro fights. You can tell he's 36 years old. And so not only is his age number high and his fights themselves high, you see it. He's starting to struggle. And I noticed it when I saw him live in Columbus against Max Payne Grissom. Max isn't that good. Max is okay, but Neil was fighting he fought Jeff Neal right before that. Jeff Neal compared to Max Griffin. Jeff Neal would kill Max Griffin. Not even close. Robbie Lawler just was a champion a few years back. The Leech is a top 10 guy. Like, that's the people he was fighting and beating. Okay. Then they gave him Michael Chiesa. Whatever. It is what it is. He got out grappled. Um, but Max Griffin is nowhere near Jeff Neal, nowhere near Michael Chiesa, nowhere near Robbie Lawler, like the Leech, like Santiago Ponzinibbio. He's nowhere near that. I thought he should go out there and kill him and win a very questionable split decision. I had a ton of money on Neal. I gave a big sigh of relief. I'm not positive he won that fight. It is what it is. We saw it. Shavkat went out there and submitted him. We didn't see him get submitted in quite some time. I know he had a little streak where he had some problems on the ground, but it started to rear its ugly head again. Daniel Rodriguez went out there and he got the job done over D-Rod, which was nice, but D-Rod like missed weight that fight and just looked off. And he's looked off ever since too. And then Gilbert Burns went out there and just took him down and submitted him with ease. And the most concerning one is this Philip Rowe fight, his last fight. That did not look good. That was concerning. I had more money on Neal. I think I had him as a lock again. And because Philip Rowe is that bad. Philip Rowe is really bad takedown defense. He couldn't take down Philip Rowe. Philip Rowe had like 30% takedown defense going into that fight. Not with Neil Magny. Neil couldn't get him down. He did his little stupid hold you up against the cage clinch shit, and did nothing on the feet when they had distance. Phil was outpiecing him. It was concerning. Neil Magny is fading, and he's fading fast, and they fed him to the fucking sharks with Ian Machado Gary. The UFC knows what they're doing. Ian called for this fight because he sees Ian is a businessman. Conor McGregor is not a top 5 fighter in UFC history. Period. He's not. He's not that good. But he is a businessman and he knows who to fight and when to fight them. But he knows how to get the big fights. He knows how to talk his way into fighting someone that is a cater-made matchup for him. And Ian Machado Gary is following in Conor's footsteps. Machado is 12-0. He trains at Kill Cliff FC, which is nice. Especially because the last guy he lost to was Gilbert Burns, and that's who Machado predominantly trains with. Gary's only 25 years old. Very good striking, very, very good counters. He's a very good counter striker. Jiu-jitsu, sneaky good. He's married, again, it's Machado Gary. He's married to a Machado girl. And Machados, you have the Gracies and you have the Machados, and they are known for being the best family in regards to jiu-jitsu. And he married one of the predecessors of some he married someone in the family, so very, very interesting there. His wrestling needs work. 63% takedown defense, and it's not exactly like he's been fighting the Shavkats and the Hamzats of the world. Like he's fighting D-Rod and Kenan Song and Gabe Green and Darian Weeks. Like they shouldn't be taking you down, bud. So he does need to work on that. But he does throw high volume when he's on the feet and gets back up. And again, he's not getting submitted down there because he is good on the ground. I'm still waiting for him to get a sub win here. It's coming. But yeah, he's predominantly a striker. He carries decent power. Is he chinny? It's not that he's chinny, it's that he doesn't keep his hands up, and it drives me absolutely crazy. We saw him rocked against Kenan Song. We saw him get clipped a few times against Gabe Green. He didn't go out or wobble or anything, but they were very clean shots. So if you hit any harder, he was in some trouble. Good news is he's fighting Neil Magny, who hasn't had any knockout since God knows when. I don't know the last time Neil Magny hurt a man. So Gary should be fine here. Gary knows that, and that's why Gary's calling out Neil. Neil has a number next to his name. Neil has fought credibility, and you have to fight Neil in order to become champ. So Gary knows that. So the pick is going to be Ian Gary. The bet's going to be Ian Gary, but minus 455 is ridiculous, which makes you play with that over-under. Neil is fading. So that's why the under is minus 125, but he's not someone he's only been knocked out twice in his career. Gary just wants a decision with, or not decision, but the overhit in the Kenan Song fight, the overhit in the Darian Weeks fight. Like those guys are not Neil Magny. So if I had to bet anything, it'd be the over 2.5 at minus 105, or you can go to a good old teaser again and do the over 1.5. And it's not terrible odds there. That's the way I'm going to play it. So the pick is going to be Machado Gary. The bet's going to be the over 1.5 and just parlay it. Then that takes us to the co-main event of the evening. And our first title fight, we have Wei Li Zhang at minus 310 going up against Amanda Lemos at plus 250. Over under set at 3.5. Over 3.5 at plus 155. Under 3.5 at minus 200. Let's start with Zhang, because Zhang should absolutely kill her. Zhang has really good striking. She has decent wrestling. She has pretty decent jujitsu. Her cardio is pretty decent. She throws high volume. Um, she does nothing wrong. She's very, very good everywhere. I did notice that ever since Rose knocked her out, she has been wrestling a lot more. So before she was going out there and just knocking everyone out easily. Even got a few submissions along the way. Then she got head kicked to death by Rose. And from there, the second Rose fight, she went over to fight ready and has been wrestling more. She fought Joanna Jacek when they first fought, it was a split decision where I thought she actually lost. But she went out there and although the first fight she shot 0 takedowns, she went out there and took her down a lot in round 1. Round 2, Carla Esparza is predominantly a wrestler. She had no problem playing ground game with Carla Esparza. Ever since she got knocked out, she just became the overall better martial artist, to be honest with you. It was a blessing in disguise getting knocked out because she's looked better ever since. And I thought she won that split when she lost a second fight to Rose. I thought she won that split. I think she got screwed. So sucks for Carla, but I'm glad they gave Wei Lee a chance at the title soon after that. She deserved it. She really should have been champ to begin with. So it all worked out in the end. On the flip side, we have Amanda Lemos, who I don't think is that good. I don't even think she should be fighting for the title. She has okay striking. It's pretty good. She hits hard. She hits like an absolute truck. Her jiu-jitsu is good. She is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. I'll give her that. That's where the credentials stop. She can't really wrestle. She has 81% takedown defense, but look at the people taking her down. I mean, Marina Rodriguez can't wrestle. Michelle Waterson Gomez took her down, and she's a karate specialist, and she's like a 40-year-old karate specialist at that. Jessica Andrade here with the standing arm triangle. Didn't even have to take her down to submit her. Angela Hill can't wrestle. Mazarat Ruiz less than 30 seconds. She can't wrestle either. Well, she just hasn't had an arm. Souza was a fraud. Inoue can't wrestle. Miranda Granger can't wrestle. Leslie Smith, I don't know who she's fighting that's supposed to take her down. So the fact that it's not 100% is on her. She'll have a 2-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. But again, her schedule's suspect, man. Jessica Andrade is good, and she lost to her. Angela Hill is decent. I thought she lost to her. They gave her the win by split decision, but I don't know, man. I think Angela Hill won that. It is what it is. It's not a robbery by any means. And I did have money on Hill, so I was a little biased, but I don't know, man. Mazarat Ruiz, you get a title fight after beating 40-year-old karate hottie and Marina Rodriguez. I don't know, man. This is sketchy. Zhang should go out there and kill her. I don't think Lemos is that good. But I'm betting Lemos, baby. Here's the deal. Here's what I did notice when I went back and did fight tape with Wei Lee. Wei Lee, I thought she lost the first Joanna fight, and Joanna used her length. She doesn't like these lengthy, skinny girls. She kind of struggles a little bit with that. Here's the other thing I noticed. She doesn't like to get hit. For someone that's a very good striker, when she gets hit, she has very bad reactions. When Rose hit her, she went out the one time, but the other time Rose hit her, she kind of just backed up a little. Joanna, whenever Joanna clipped her, she has big movements where she goes back, she resets, and then she re-engages. But she does not like when you clip her. She's durable, generally. I mean, she got knocked out by Rose, but outside of that, she's generally pretty durable. It's just she makes these big movements and resets every time you touch her. It's weird. I'm not a fan of that. It's not a good visual. And Lemos is pretty lanky, just like Joanna is, only she hits a lot harder. So if those movements and her readjusting isn't if it's because those are actually hurting her and she has a good poker face, Lemos could put her out with one. Also, when she shoots her doubles that she's been doing as of late, she leaves her neck out there. She's not predominantly a wrestler. She's learning. She got a lot better at it. She's really good at using it. But someone that's a good jujitsu practitioner can't snatch up her neck. And what happened with Michelle Waterson Gomez? She got guillotined shooting a sloppy takedown. If Wei Lee does a sloppy takedown against Lemos, she could snatch her neck. If Wei Lee just kind of paws around on the outside and gets clipped by Lemos, she could go out. Lemos has multiple ways to win this fight. I don't think Lemos is good. I don't think Lemos should be getting a title shot. I don't think Lemos is championship worthy. But I think this is a good matchup for Lemos. So she's going to get it done. It's against Wei Li. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but I'm calling my shot, and I have a bet on Lemos. The pick is going to be Zhang. Zhang could very well go out there and kill her in one round and make it look easy, or she can make her quit in round 3 and 4, or 5. Like Lemos does not have good cardio. She will quit out there, or Lemos is going to go out there and get a finish in round 1 or 2. And I'm going to lean with the Lemos finish. I'm not only betting Lemos, Lemos is not winning a decision over Zhang. So the pick is going to be Zhang because she's the better fighter. The bet's going to be Lemos inside the distance. Get even more money. Get greedy. I'm encouraging you to get greedy. If Lemos wins, it's inside the distance. So the pick is going to be Zhang. The bet's going to be Lemos inside the distance. Calling it. And then she's going to lose that title right away. She is not holding on to that thing. She's not a good fighter. Then that takes us to the main event. If you haven't already, go ahead and give this video a like, hit the subscribe, give a follow over on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's a Stats and Stacks podcast, and it's what everyone's been waiting for. We have the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley at plus 210, going up against the champ, Aljamain Sterling at 260. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 at over 3.5. Sorry, over 3.5 is plus 120. Under 3.5 at minus 150. Let's start with the champ. Let's not be disrespectful here. Aljamain, great champion. He's a good striker. He's extremely fast. Pillow fist does not hit hard whatsoever. You don't even feel it when he hits you. But he's fast, man. The dude is fast as shit. He has really, really, really good wrestling and really, really, really good jiu-jitsu. That's his bread and butter. He will take your back and you are going nowhere. He's 34 years old, so he's about to leave his prime. He's in it still right now, but he knows he's about to leave it. He already talked about going up to 145 after this just because of weight cuts getting to him. Make sure you watch weigh-ins. Last fight against Henry, he showed up and he was the last one to weigh in, and he never looks good on the scale. He looks like death. It's very sketchy watching him on the scale, so just be cognizant of that. Also with him, he's had a really weird title run, to be honest with you. I was all in on Aljo. I was calling Aljo being champion years ago, but at the Corey Sandhagen fight, he looked phenomenal. But since then, the Peter Yan fight, he won via DQ. Sketchy. Peter Yan, he won that split decision. I thought he lost. It is what it is. Sketchy. TJ Dillashaw, he fought with one arm. Like TJ Dillashaw literally had his shoulder popping in and out. Sketchy. And Henry Cejudo, I do think Aljo won when I went back and watched it. Initially, I thought Henry won, but I could see Aljo getting it. But Henry's also like 37 or 36, and he was coming back from like a 3-year layoff. So sketchy. So he beat a man coming back from retirement, a guy with one arm, a very questionable decision win, and a DQ. That's his title run. It's weird. Don't get me wrong. I think Aljo's real. I fuck with Aljo. Corey Sandhagen, great win, aged well. Pedro Munoz, he's fighting on this card, good win. Jimmy Rivera, great win. Cody Stamen, good win. Brett Johns, great win. I am really high on Brett Johns. I think Brett Johns is so good. Marlon Moraes got caught with the knee. It happens to everyone. He has some good wins on his record. It's just his title run's a little sketchy. Just be weary of that. But honestly, he's getting the Sugar Show, so that's good for him. Let's get a credible win here. Sugar Show, great striker, definitely the better striker of the two. Very long. They have a reach advantage here, but it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. Only a 1-inch reach advantage here. With how long he is, I thought it was going to be like a 6-inch reach advantage. He was going to take advantage. No, Aljo has some long ass arms, man. Sugar, though, good striking, high volume, MMA lab. So you know what that means. Not the greatest takedown defense. 60% takedown defense. I'm telling you, you guys aren't paying attention. It's 60% takedown defense. He also slows down in his fights. He can go 15 minutes, but he's not exactly a cardio whiz. We saw him slow down in the Chris Montino fight. We saw him slow down in the Peter Yan fight. He does slow down in his fights. I don't know, man. The UFC matches him up well. There's a reason he's not fighting wrestlers. Pedro Munoz, like we said, has never really shot in a takedown. And that ended in no contest anyway. Julian Paiva doesn't wrestle. Chris Martino doesn't wrestle. Thomas Almeida doesn't wrestle. Marlon Vera doesn't wrestle. Eddie Wineland doesn't wrestle. Quinones doesn't wrestle. Like, I yeah, he's not fighting any wrestlers whatsoever. He's never fought wrestlers, and now he's fighting the best one. So that's a little concerning here. The 60% takedown defense when you fought all strikers is I can't get behind this. I like how Suga promotes himself. I think Suga's good for the UFC. Is he my cup of tea? Not really. But is he good for the sport? Yeah. I have all the respect in the world to Sugar Show, but I think this is where the hype train ends. And I think Aljo is going to destroy him. Sneaky play. I don't mind Aljo by KO because Sugar actually has good jujitsu. It's very, very sneaky. MMA Lab, not the greatest wrestlers, but they are all pretty good on the ground. Sugar has been doing a ton of grappling competitions as of late. And he's actually pretty decent on the ground. He's getting good jiu-jitsu competition wins. He's very, very good on the ground, sneaky good, and no one talks about it. So Aljo might have a little bit of a time submitting him, but can he flatten him out and then just ground and pound him for the finish in rounds like 4 or 5? Absolutely. Aljo has very good cardio. And I can see him sneaky play by knockout and not on the feet, literally taking him down and ground and pounding a really, really tired Sugar Show in rounds 4 or 5. So the pick is going to be Aljo. Minus 260, I think we're getting a steal of a line. The bet's going to be Aljo in his final fight at bantamweight. And that is UFC 292 Sterling versus O'Malley. Again, it's going to be one hell of a fight card. It's a pay-per-view, so make sure you pay attention. Make sure you take a nap. Get ready. It's going to be a long night of fights, and let's make it a profitable one. We got them all last week. We're looking to do it again, baby. Let's get it.